Hey there, dear friends. Dana of Dana Spirit Butterfly here. And this is a video for the next month's energy forecast, which we base now on the lunar cycles. And interestingly, this lunar cycle starts on the 1st of February, also coinciding with the start of the calendar month for 2022. So before we dive in, I just want to pay my respects to the land grid that I'm currently situated on. I'm on Kauna land, and this is the land of my birth. And so I pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging, recognizing that sovereignty was never ceded, and that by being born here, I have a unique connection to this land, but also it is land that I share with the Indigenous nation of the Kauna people. And so, with that, I extend my blessings to any of you who identify as Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander. I recognise I come from Celtic Dutch ancestry, and so my forefathers migrated to this beautiful country. And of course, we've just come through Australia Day. And so before I go on to the energy forecast, I would like to personally thank the Indigenous Australians of this nation who continue to support us, all of us, in our sacred practices here on this beautiful land. The land grids here are subtle. And the beautiful thing I love about the fact that they are subtle is that the subtlety is needed, and the subtlety is where growth lies, because it requires us to calm down. It requires us to find some seat of peace inside of ourselves. And when we can reach a level of discernment that allows us to know, aha, I'm present in my body and I'm able to listen, I hear different things. And when I hear different things, usually what I hear is in support of myself, in support of others, and in support of the great oneness, because we are connected. And we all acknowledge, those of us who have a spiritual practice, that we are not alone on this planet. We actually share this space with others, but we also owe everybody, all those others, our own obligation to be present with ourselves and to acknowledge that we are valuable. And so being able to understand and sit in this space of, I am valuable, you are valuable, let's work together to find some balance between us, is actually where our future lies. And I'm very excited to understand that the future that we're heading towards is not just brighter, but it's also much calmer, much more relaxed, and much more present with people, with situations, and with circumstances. And when we're able to be present in our own experience and in our own lives, we don't just see things differently, but we also sense our power differently. And power is an interesting thing, because when I use the term power, we often associate it with a masculine paradigm and over masculine paradigm. So I just want to acknowledge the butterfly that's just fluttering out my window, which often isn't. I'm on a second story of a building here, so I often don't get butterflies this high up. Always feel better when that happens during my videos. Just affirmation of, the spirit work that I do, butterflies representing spirit. I know I'm getting distracted, fairy that I am. So being present in the field, being present as us, staying calm, relaxed, acknowledging self is actually part of the paradigm of also being available for community. And knowing when to introspect and introvert and be on my own, and knowing when to be out and about with community and family and friends is an art. It's an art form. Too much of one way and we end up disconnected. I'm either overstimulated and I forget myself, or I'm undernourished. And that undernourishment is something that as soon as I say that, I feel that resonance. Those of you who have done my Claire's course, that resonance that actually says that this is meaningful. It's really important to understand how to situate yourself in present state and time to acknowledge this as an important part of your experience. Slowing down, being present, and showing up in life is actually your responsibility, and it's how you help your community. And so, energy forecast. We are energy before we were matter. This physical body or vehicle that I have is as old as this physical vehicle is, but my soul, of course, is older and has a lot more connection to more than I can see with my physical eyes, and that I can taste with my physical senses, that I can experience with my physical body. But of course, while I'm in physical form, it's also really important for me to acknowledge where I'm at, where I'm geographically located, the fact that I'm a part of an ecosystem here. So as I go about my business, I'm always in conversation or concert with more than just myself. Being aware of that is actually what this last month has raised to a number of your attention. Venus has been in retrograde. We also experienced a Mercury retrograde, and we're still in it until the mid of the month. So communication is what Mercury is known for, and Venus is about relationships, usually romantic relationships, but as all is love, we see that there's a connection to anything that relates to love in your life. And so when a planet appears to go retrograde, it gifts us with the appearance that things aren't as they seem, that they seem to be going backwards, or somehow they're not working out for us. Sometimes this can be in service to us. And it's up to you to have the dialogue with yourself to understand how something feels right for you and how something feels not quite right for you. And to understand that through the passage of your life, things go wrong. They're supposed to go wrong. We're not always designed to get what we want immediately. Many of the things that we say that we want today, we may not want tomorrow. And sometimes when things don't go according to plan, it gives us an excuse, if you will, or an opportunity to go, aha, I see that thing and I'm having this experience right now and I really wanted that and it's not working out for me. What's going to happen? What am I going to do? How is my unique energy going to interpret this experience, and what is its response going to be, or reaction? Of course, we like to cultivate response rather than reaction, but inevitably we need to honor the self and what shows up, and we often have reactions rather than responses. And reactions are, of course, much faster. They can be a lot more dynamic, and they can sometimes involve more denser vibrations like anger, frustration, sadness, a desire to control, a desire to get aggressive. These sensations are a part of the human experience, and so we cultivate a practice of never shaming people for having experiences or reactions. But we do experience reactions in a way where we create space, me, spirit, the peeps that I work with, we create space for the reaction so that we can hear and listen to that which is emerging. And in creating space to listen to that which is emerging, we are able to better navigate what shows up and to be able to take our time to decide what we can do about things. And so January, the first month, the first lunar cycle, which started on the 2nd of January, and we started in a Capricorn New Moon. We went into a Cancer full moon, and now we're heading into a new moon in Aquarius. And so Capricorn as an energy is very, it's quite productive, but it's usually very earth-based. It's very grounded. It can be about money. It's often about home environment. It's about the structures in your life and how they may or may not be working for you. And so if you had the experience in the last month where you may have wanted to lean into romantic relationships or get involved with those types of kind of relational paradigms, you may have noticed that those types of interactions or conversations weren't necessarily supporting you or providing you with the safety that you were hoping for. And often when the external relational paradigm, so me wanting to relate to other people in order to feel safe, doesn't quite work, what happens is, as a reaction or even a response, because this is actually quite a measured, understandable response, would be to introspect and to ask questions about, some more simplified fundamental concepts like, do I really want this? Is this the home environment that I like? Is this the job that I want to stay in? Is this how I want to make my money? So we spoke about it in the last energy forecast, where we were urging you to spend January, or at least see January, as a preparation for the rest of the year, and to take your time to make some decisions around what types of things you wanted to invest in. And that's what the energetics available to the collective field via the astral alignments, and of course, just through our awareness of energy and how we flow. That's how we recommended that you spend most of January, is really honoring the self, coming back to fundamental, you know, am I eating well and nourishing myself and my body with enough light and good sleep and, you know, a safe environment to be in, and making some real hard decisions about, you know, what types of environments you want to be in, what types of people you'd like to hang out with, so that you can find a ground zero, if you will, or like a fundamental home space where everything feels like it's somewhat balanced for you, or it can always be, because you can always return to these things. And so if you haven't already, heading into the dark moon, by all means sit yourself down with a candle. I always work with a candle. Breathe a bit, write down some of the things that you have in your life at the moment that for you feel safe and is secure enough for you, and you can always fall back onto if things don't quite work out, and just spend some time acknowledging that these things, A, exist in your life, they're actually there, B, they actually support you, even if it's just a fundamental, I can go here to get a feed, and I can go here to make sure that I can sleep in a restful way. These types of things are quintessential. They're quintessential for taking care of your physical vehicle, which is your body. And so those of you who are aware of the chakra system, this is essentially just making sure that your base chakra needs are being met, or at least that you have some dialogue or awareness around that. Heading into February, of course, Aquarius New Moon, number 2 month, February. 2's usually is about the next step. So 1 is usually new beginnings and starting off. 2 is usually starting to get more involvement. Venus goes direct on the 29th, sorry, thanks Spirit for correcting me, 29th of January. So Venus is going to return back into a direct alignment, which basically brings relational paradigms back into the field in a way where there seems to be some movement moving forwards. For the first 2 months, though, we're still in a Mercury retrograde, which often influences us in a way that suggests that even though you feel like you're ready for a relationship, and even though you feel like you're ready to move forwards with some type of collaboration, whether that be with family members, whether that be with lovers, whether that be with business partnerships, because as we said, they're all relationships, and ideally they're still based in some level of meeting and love. These types of energies start to become more available to you. So once you've assured yourself that you've got some fundamentals covered, you've got a certain amount of money in the bank, and you've got a certain amount of kind of safety and security in the physical world, then it's time for us to up the ante. And so this is the energy of Aquarius. Aquarius is an air sign, so it can be quite fast moving, but it'll be grounded by the full moon in Leo. And Leo, of course, is a passionate, fiery sign. A lot of people associate Leo, the lion, with leadership and the ability to just call things out and to provide direction. And so Aquarians tend to be the visionaries. And so the energy of Aquarius is, you know, a little bit high in the sky ideals, but it will be tempered quite nicely with the full moon in Leo. Now, those of you who aren't very familiar with moon cycles, when you do land work and start to connect in properly with physical vehicle maintenance, which basically is taking care of your body and allowing yourself to hear what's actually going on in an embodied sense in your actual physical world, recognizing that you are an intrinsic part of the connection of the ecology or the environment that you're in. When you can acknowledge that environmental factors impact you and you impact the environment, and that you honor that above all things, then what you'll notice is that moving into your life a little bit further becomes a lot more magnetic and a lot more available to you. Aquarians can be extremely visionary to the point where sometimes they forget the physical vehicle and what it is that is needed in the physical plane in order to get ideas into action. And so that's why once Mercury goes direct, if you've done your business of introspecting and owning your shit and taking responsibility for the things that are in your life and making those tough decisions, then you'll find that moon cycles and heading into the full moon alignment actually serves you. Those of you who aren't taking responsibility for your life, if you're not recognizing that the physical experience that you're having is by your choosing on some level, that on some level you are in control, that on some level you are in a powerful position to make changes if you need, right? If you're able to disconnect from the emotional reality to the point where you can acknowledge that energy and motion is emotional language, the emotional language tells us about ourselves, but it's not the place from which we generally make our decisions. It can be a part of it, but it's not where we make our decisions from. Emotional decisions sometimes aren't grounded and they're not anchored in the physical reality. Sometimes they're passion projects that are really great, but you may not have any experience in the field. And so your ability to carry that project forwards in an anchored way, which means that you can actually make physical choices and decisions and build relationships and build structures that actually communicate in clear language to the people that you're trying to reach. If you haven't dialogued with that and done some journeying around that, either through in-life practice or through, the visionary state of manifestation work, then you'll find that a lot of your ideas will not land anywhere and you'll feel a sense of fretting and ungroundedness. And being drawn into March, we want to assure you that this month is still very much preparation for March. March is actually going to move much more further. Aquarius energy, as we said, is very much the illusion or the mind mapping system, so the ideas of things. The fiery, passionate full moon of Leo energy is about getting fired up and finding that direction. So expect this month to gift you with clear sight, because Aquarians are highly psychic. And Spirit is reminding me there is absolutely no reason why you can't also invest in psychic senses and start to intuit your way through some of your life. If you haven't activated that muscle or explored your range of that, I have a course that I specialize in now called The Clairs, which is about awakening your own intuitive voice and exercising those muscles. It's a 5-week online course, and there's a couple of dates coming up, one in February and there'll be also one in April, to start that journey with yourself. If you've already done it, that's fine. You might be attracted to it as well, because obviously with the work that I do, there's always extra stuff that slips in. I mean, I'm a sacred feminine rising, so we meet you where you're at in the collective containers that we hold, me and Spirit, because, well, let's face it, they know you better than I do. So when I'm in that space teaching you, we are connected to the collective consciousness that involves all of us who sign up to the course. So exercising those muscles and understanding how to do that. Firstly, Aquarian energy, 15th of February when my course starts, is ideal for you to step into more of that dialogue and to get some answers around your business, your health, your finances, your personal relationships, you name it. We can channel on that for you, and you can also at some point learn how to channel around it for yourself, support yourself in your own activities, which is where we, Spirit and me, you and your higher spirit, your higher self, want you to go. We want you to rebalance the scales and to get out of the chronic planning and out of the I'm going to see this picture in the future and that's the only thing I'm going to head towards idea. Understanding that if you don't weave into that space and awareness of the environmental factors that you're in, and also your intuitive gift, if you're not weaving that into your business planning, into your life planning, into your awareness of self, then you're going to suffer. You're going to experience a lot of distrust, and you'll find that your relational joy is lower than what it could potentially be. So let us help you, let us serve you. That's what I specialize in, is in psychic reading and gifts, and also, of course, sacred feminine rising, what we call the sacred feminine rising, which is the return to earth of this intuitive language, so that we may gently weave ourselves and our emotional senses back into productivity, back into society that sees artistic creation and music and the language of the earth and the seasonal cycles, that we celebrate all of these things as an intrinsic part of us and health and wellness, and we weave that back into your life. So we're going to wrap this up. Aquarian energy, enjoy the flow of this current moon cycle. We send you kisses. Let us know if we can be of service to you in any way. There's a lot more coming. The sense I get in terms of moving forwards, March is going to be flow, but there's actually a lot, like the planetary shifts that we've had over the last 2 years. There's more of that. There's more of that to be prepared for. And it gets easier. It gets easier when you can start to step out of the construct that tells you that there's only these things in life, and you start to peer in behind the technology that's been pushed at you, and you start to see what's also there, when you start to differentiate the information that's available to you, to see more of what's available for you, you find that there's a lot more decisions that are available to you that may harmonize quite nicely with you and the way that you choose to live your life. It's actually easier than you think. But you do need to be open to change, and you do need to be open to listening to your own sacred wisdom that is there every day of your life. You have access to it every single day of your life. And so if you're not in dialogue with it now, please reach out. Let us show you how. Let me read for you. Let us direct you to where your resources lie and what it is that you need to cultivate for you. Let us be in service to you. That's what we're here to do. And we'd like to see you be the most productive self that you can be. We'd like to see you also be the most satisfied self that you can be. We want you to fully be in love with yourself, because you're so worth loving. Absolutely everybody deserves and is worth love. And it is available to everybody, but it may not look like what you're expecting. And I can explain to you the things that you expect are actually conditioned. We are shown certain things over others to see those things as being love, when there's actually all this other stuff as well. Another butterfly just appeared out my window as I say that. So let Spirit help you. Let us guide you. Support my YouTube channel by subscribing if you can, please. There's also some guided meditations and just a 5-minute breath work practice that you might like to tune into. Is helpful. Even I go and use it whenever I'm feeling like I need a little bit of love and support. So kisses again. Peace to you. I'm Dana, Spirit Butterfly, and welcome to my YouTube channel. All right, I hope to see you guys soon. Oh, also Spirit's reminded me that we'll put the dates and times and some information about how you can reach me and our courses that are coming up below in the YouTube description. So please check that out, and let us know if you've got questions. All right, have a great rest of your month, friends, family, loved ones. Be well, please. See you.